Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Okay, today we will be presenting our question in Business and Administration, code IIE 1001, under instruction of Dr. Suhaili bin Sarif. Our group members consist of Abdul Munzir bin Saiful Suhardi, Rabi'atul Adawiyah binti Fahrul Razi, Muhammad Amirul Naim bin Amir, and Nur Mumtazah binti Muhammad. So the question is, describe the skills and functions of a manager, distinguish between management and leadership, and do you think a person could be an effective manager but simultaneously an ineffective manager? So we decided to split up the content into 4 parts. First one, describe skills of a manager. Second, describe functions of a manager. Third, distinguish between manager and leadership. And the last one is a person could be an effective manager but simultaneously an ineffective leader. First things first, what is manager? It is a person who is responsible for a part of company. Managers may be in charge of a department and the people who work in it. In some cases, managers is in charge of the whole company. For instance, a restaurant manager will be in charge of the whole restaurant. Moving on to the skills of manager. Okay, every industry, of course, has its specific knowledge. In addition to this, the qualities that make an individual a good manager tend to be fairly similar all across industries. The following are 4 essential skills that a manager should possess in order to manage a good company. First up, good communication. It is important for every employee in a certain company to have effective communication skills. However, this is especially so for managers, as they have to deal with additional responsibilities that have given to them as a manager. If an aspiring or an experienced manager want to remain on top of his game, then it is important to master written communication, verbal and non-verbal skills. In numerous types of management tasks, the most common and first thing that needs to be done is to communicate opinions, expectations, and needs to others. One should not be a manager if he does not enjoy working with people. A good manager also needs to be able to send others the right messages and make sure that they understand. Effective communication skills for managers also help build teams. For example, managers can use their communication skills to set rules, define employees' roles, encourage employees to take their own decisions, and obtain goals for their teams. That's not all. Excellent communication skills also allow managers to increase morale, productivity, team unity easily and effectively. Next up is good management skill. Management skills can be defined as certain attributes or abilities that a manager should possess in order to fulfill the specific task in an organization. They include the ability to perform executive duties in an organization while avoiding crisis situations and promptly solving problems when they occur. Management skills can be developed through learning and practical experiences as a real manager. There are many definitions of skills that talk about talent. Talent is something personal related to an individual that shows a natural gift from nature. All persons cannot be an artist, but despite their talent, they continue to develop their talent to improve their art skills. It is the same as managerial skills, where one should maintain high efficiency in the way his or her employees complete their everyday working tasks. Because of that, manager will need skills that will help them to manage people and technology and to ensure an effective and efficient realization of their working duties. Third, team building. Good managers know how to keep their team intact. The well-being of team members does not benefit from having competition only within the team. However, the competitions between teams can be very stimulating and healthy. if one of the team members speaks ahead and leave the rest of the members behind, the team will most likely to fail. A good manager will notice these irregularities easily and will try to correct this situation by having a discussion, mostly through listening to all the team members to find the root and the cause of this problem. Team building exercises can be helpful to help managers build a company culture that is beneficial for everyone in an organization. This will help retain employees, increase productivities, and help them enjoy during their working hours. Last but not least, leadership skills. Anyone can be placed in a leadership role, but to be a good and thrive in that position requires solid leadership skills. It is not enough to just listen to the problems of coworkers. A good manager needs to solve these problems and prove that he or she is committed to the goals of the company. It is also manager's responsibility to define goals among team members and then assign responsibility to various team members clearly. A good manager will have a clear vision in terms of direction in which the team is headed in. The team members need to be infected with his vision so that everyone is headed in the same direction. In short, manager must be able to do the following. First, create a vision of the future that's inspiring. Second, motivate people to engage with the vision. Third, effectively manage the delivery of the vision. And the last one, coach and build a team who will work together towards the same vision and objective. A good manager has the leadership skills required to do all of this. When combined, they can help transform a business and its outlook to a better one.
Based on the chart given, so first we have planning, and the second we have organizing, follow with directing, and also we call it leading, and last but not least, there is controlling. So how functional the skills? We can look through an organization by mastering 4 or more basic characteristic functional. Is that by knowing step by step, planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Planning. This step includes mapping out exactly how to achieve a particular goal. Let's say that the organization's goal is to improve company sales. The manager first needs to decide which steps are necessary to accomplish that goal. For example, the manager should do is increasing advertising and at the same time increasing inventory and sales staff. These necessary steps are developed into a plan. When the plan is success, the manager can follow it to accomplish the goal of improving company sales. Okay, next slide. In this planning, also we discussed about strategic plan, tactical plan, operational planning, and contingency planning. A strategic plan identifies a firm's main business focus over a long-term period, perhaps 3 to 5 years, and how the firm's mission is to be achieved and typically includes goals and strategies that can be used to satisfy the firm's mission. While tactical plan is like smaller scale plans over 1 or 2 years, they are consistent with the firm's strategic or long-term plan. What manager must do is managers need to analyze economic condition, the general demand for various products, the level of competition among the firms producing those products, and changes in technology. For a operational plan, a manager has to specify the method to be used in the near future, such as next year. The operational plan works when a manager knows how the company will increase revenue. Following the plan, lastly we discussed about contingency planning. This plan is like alternative planning or backup planning for various possible business conditions. It's all depend on business condition at that time. Second, we go to the organizing. After a plan is done, a manager needs to organize team and materials according to their plan. There are 2 important elements in organizing, which is assigning work and granting authority. Third, we go to leading. Instead of plan, organize, and other stuff, a manager must also lead. Leading involves motivating, communicating, guiding, and encouraging. It requires the manager to coach, assist, and problem solve with employees. There are several leading styles, which is autocratic, that describe about a leader that have full authority for decision making. Next, free rein. This style is totally opposite from before. The leaders give a lot of power to employee. And lastly is participative. This style describes that leaders by accept some employee input but usually use your authority to make decisions. Controlling. All managers at all levels of every organization perform these functions, but the amount of time a manager spends on each one depends on both the level of management and the specific organizations.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Naim. So now I'll proceed to the slide, difference between leadership and management. So basically, leadership and management, there are so many debate about these two items. Some people think that leadership and management are same, but some people also think that leadership and management are different. So now I'm not going to talk about the debate, but just the difference between leadership and management. First, title in company. Managers have title that give them power, while leaders, power is not the hallmark. It is inspiring people. What we get from this point is the people who have leadership not necessarily have power in company. They only have the ability to inspire people. Okay. Next is communicating goals. Managers direct their employees without much feedback, while leaders tend to listen more to their subordinates. This point, I want to point out from this point is their communicating goals. How they interact with their subordinates or their employees. Managers, they only give them the managers direct their employees without much feedback, while leaders tend to listen more to their subordinates. What I want to point out from this point is their communicating goals. How they interact with their employees, how they interact with their subordinates. Managers tend to have two ways. Managers tend to have one-way communication only, while leaders they have two ways communicating goals. They talk and they hear. While managers, they only talk. They only give the employees the order, what to do, what to know, what to have. That's dealing with risk. Managers are more rigid about rules and procedures, while managers are more open to taking risks. About this point is how leaders and managers see the future. Managers tend to only tend to only do what necessary and what should be done, what should have been done. That's only. But leaders, they have big mind, they have big heart to think outside the box and do what outside the box about the future. So they are not think about rules and procedure and so on. Not totally forget about the rules and regulation or procedure, but you got my point, right? Next is taking feedback. Managers less likely to take constructive feedback from their subordinates, while leaders encourage constructive feedback from their followers. These points are almost the same from point 2. So no need to explain. So now point 5, ways of delegating work responsibilities. Managers want to have control over most items and have a hard time delegating project entirely to their workers, while leaders tend to not get involved in the task from that someone else is very capable of completing it. This point shows the trust from leaders and from managers towards their subordinates and workers. Managers, they are not really trust their workers to do something that are really important because they don't know them well. While leaders, they trust their workers, they trust their workers and they trust their subordinates to do something, and they know what they can do, how well they can do. So next is the last one is ways to deal with problem. Managers fixate on rules and result. Failures tend to be more black and white for them, while leaders tend to have more visionary. They can also see the opportunity in perceived failures. So from this point, when the company have problem, managers, they are more likely to see that as a failure is a problem, while leaders, they see failure as an opportunity to the others. Or the problem is the opportunity, not problem is not problem, but the opportunity.
Now we turn to the last content for this topic, effective manager but ineffective leader. Is it possible? Before I answer it, listen first to my explanation. Okay, my first point, definitions of leadership and management were created to fit the mindset of the individual creating that definition. It means no specific definition that we can use for leading and managing terms, because it depends on how a person thinks according to their knowledge, or maybe according to their situation. In fact, it's hard to find the connection between leadership and management without any evidence. Second, what might appear to define a leader was often seen in another definition of a manager. Normally, we know that a leader is someone who conduct all the things in one organization. So they need to have their own qualities that not exist in other employees. For example, a leader is someone who are confident, accountability, have making decision capabilities, inspire others, and so on. Clearly, we can see that a manager also needs to have the same skills as a leader. So, anyone who has the skills of a manager, then they can be a leader too. Okay. Next, many of skills of managing show up in the skill set of a leader. In fact, most of the skills in management will indeed exist in a leader. Is it quite impossible if a leader has no management skills? Other than that, a leader has an important quality, or they have their own capabilities in the world of a management. Okay, last but not least, what I can conclude all of my point, I can say it, leadership and management are in the same meaning. So there cannot be effective leadership within an organization without the combination of the two. I think that's all for our topic. Thank you for listening us.